What's up, current and future disc golf addicts? We are back at it with the 2025 DSA Match Play Final. For the first time ever, we're hosting the Rotterdam edition with Dominik and Filip in our final. They also matched up, I believe, in round 1 or 2 of our Swiss play format and put together a very close battle. Hole 1, we're looking at a OB left, double mando, backhand turnover. Off the basket just on the edge of this bush line. Dominik often going to his sensei, seeing that exactly the flight that you would love to see. Have it land flat and nestle slowly. Filip always been favoring this forehand a little bit more, throwing his deflector, which is one of his go-tos. Working out nice. Both of them practically parked. Just tapping in these putts for birdie. Moving on to hole 2. Hole 2, 412 feet, 126 meters. You have OB long, which does come into play if you're playing for that roller, which is the most frequently seen if you're trying to push up to the basket with that very hard left to right shape that you need to put on that disc. Dominik going for that roller, but pulling it a touch too far right. Filip is one of the few who does have power to get there with that forehand for a edge of circle 2 putt, but being so far tucked off to the right, this is one where if you can get into that upper right quadrant, you're already off to a fantastic start and a bonus birdie and most difficult hole on the course by far. Filip pitching up and being close, which makes this a must-make here for Dominik. Giving it a good chance. Again, with that left to right movement, those bushes do hang out over the basket and can protect it if you are tucked off right, and which is why you really want to avoid that mistake of going right on your approach to the green. Hole 3, playing along the path, a flat to hyzer shot, with this basket being tucked on this little ridge line in the forest. Plenty of trees to hit. Filip, he's been favoring this forehand more for his technical gap shots, so playing for a longer putt, but leaving that a little low. Dominik showing us how this hole is meant to be played. Unforced error here by Filip with that pitch up. Trying to give it a chance. Dominik laying it up, but a little scary there, hitting the root of the tree right in front of the basket. Fortunate to sit there. And bringing it back to a tie game. Hole 4, we have a initial double mando that the guys are having to throw through. A little bit of a low ceiling with the branches from the main trees, and a soft hyzer finish that you're wanting on your right hand backhand shot. Dominik may be leaking a little early left, but more or less the shape that you would like to see. Filip throwing his Firebird here. We see that come back into frame. Dominik pushing up very nicely. And then Filip actually finishing long and left of the basket, cutting back. We move on, tie game to hole 5. Hole 5, we're looking at a straight shot at the basket, or there is this backdoor hyzer line that some of the locals prefer. OB path right can also be very windy on this hole. You see Dominik pull his drive a little right and kick down. Seeing that, Filip, he's always preferred this hyzer line from the times I've played with him, and so he wants to give it a little bit of extra height to guarantee that he gets up there for putts. Put a little bit more pressure on Dominik here. Dominik pitching up nicely, leaving Filip with an opportunity here to take one. And a great putt, capitalizing on the drive. As we move on to hole 6, 79 meters, 259 feet, OB path on the right. Throw whatever you're comfortable with, and don't challenge that path on the right. And it's usually all the disc selection here. It's like Dominik throwing his sensei again. Nice and straight, never really challenging that path. Filip throwing the forehand. Can be a little scary, but with that thick grass, it just eats up the skip and nestles there. Great putt there from Filip and drive, bringing him to 2 up in our match play format as we move on to hole 7. Even though the hole itself is short, plenty of danger to be found if you hit those branches and do not cross inbounds. Fortunately, when this match play was played, most of the leaves have already fallen off, leaving a little bit more airspace to get lucky through those branches. Dominik recently changing up his game plan, starting to rely more on his forehand here. And great to see that the more pure line there from Dominik. And also scary running those putts without water being very close off to the left. Just a little low for both of the guys. Tapping in their pars. And we move on to hole 8. Hole 8, not much danger to be found. You can throw this up the gut shot, either through this little gap defined by those fences, throw it over them as a flex shot, or if you have the power, you can play that big hyzer around them, not having to worry about hitting something early. This has mostly been Filip's play, typically throwing a boss on this hyzer line. Dominik doesn't throw quite as far as Filip does, and so he's been playing around with the rollers a little bit, trying to have it hold the cut angle the whole way, and end up just flipping over. But Dominik just wanted to place some pressure on Filip, put his upshot nice and close, and see what happens here with Filip's putt. Just outside the circle and floating it perfectly dead center. The basket catching that nicely. Hole 9, OB left, OB river path crossing the fairway, as well as water deep right. Plenty of danger. More often than not, we'll see Filip showing the forehand play, trying to throw something flat along the edge of this path line, skipping up towards the basket. And then we'll have Dominik show us this backhand pushing hyzer between this row of trees. Fortunate to sit there, stay close to the basket, especially with Filip being right there. The guys tapping there. Short putts, bringing us to hole 10. Playing to the same basket as hole 9, 74 meters, 244 feet. Soft hyzer shot. Again, pass on the right, playing OB, and then water off to the left. Filip really committing to that line with his A2, throwing it flat. We get a look at Dominik's shot, looking about pin high. We watched Dominik convert his putt. We thought Filip was actually closer than he was actually, and had pushed considerably deep on this, contesting with that last tree on a very stretched out Anheuser putt. Hole 11, we're looking at our par 4, 174 meter, 572 foot hole. Path on the right, OB along the whole way, and then path left, also OB for any of those hyzer shots that leak left. Watching Dominik here, going back to that roller. The fairway is wide enough to where the roller play is generally safe, and it'll curl fast enough to leave you in a good spot, and the green is open enough to leave you some options, whether you're left, having to throw a forehand in, backhand turnover, whatever it may be. Filip really wanting to commit to that distance line here, but misses the angle there, and actually ends up finding that OB left. Not something you see because it does take a lot of power to find that OB. But fortunately for Filip here, we do see that he pushed past this row of trees, and so at least that leaves him some room for this forehand approach to the green, throwing over this electrical box, which he does great with his Firebird again. So now Dominik, a long circle 2 look to potentially get another point there. Filip limiting the damage there very well, despite finding that OB. Hole 12, 95 meters, 312 feet. Flat to hyzer, or you can throw something a little bit more overstable and throw a more pronounced flex shot. Early left can find a lot of trouble, but you also have to be very careful with your disc selection because that path long is OB. Watch Dominik throw something low, avoiding those initial branches that can be easy to find, and a long edge of circle 2 look there. Filip pulling his drive over a little bit, scared of that early left. And not a gap that you see often being thrown at or hit here. A backdoor forehand hyzer line. Usually you might see somebody playing through that gap if they end up early left. Filip getting creative there and leaning to his forehand there for his approach. Dominik actually went up and took a look at how far Filip's disc was before deciding to run or lay it up. Very unfortunate to see there with that spit out. Sliding right back out with those nubless cages. Bringing us to hole 13, 47 meters, 153 feet. OB fence line on the right. Typically in casual rounds, this is your ace run hole. But we'll see what these guys do in our match play format. Dominik keeping it simple. Straight shot, keeping it low. Not being that far of a hole, you don't need to throw it too hard. Filip throwing a Berg forehand, challenging that leaning tree a little, but fortunately sliding past it. A good putt for Dominik there, seeing Filip being really close to the basket. After a walk over to hole 14, double Mando off the tee, forehand hyzer, backhand turnover, 59 meters. Another one where it's very easy to find danger with that double Mando, and then also OB track on the left if you put too much angle on that backhand turnover. We'll watch Filip throw his deflector again. Staying up nicely and finding the bottom of the basket, which marks, as far as I know, our second ever match play ace. Running over to confirm that the disc did indeed stay there. Congratulations, Filip, with that ace. And Dominik there, I mean, what can you do? Hole 15, OB left, long and right, 94 meter, 308 foot hole. You have this right side pushing hyzer to the basket, or you have a lot more space off to the left, throwing a turnover or a forehand, as we're seeing Filip do here with his destroyer. Dominik usually preferring that right line, being a little bit more technical of a player. Even though he leaks early left, this is a very common area for people to land in. That low ceiling making it tricky to keep the putt up, and an uncommon miss there, missing high. Filip with another opportunity to get a stroke, and momentum is clearly on his side now after that ace. Hole 16, signature hole at Rotterdam, 69 meters. Throw whatever you're comfortable throwing straight. For Filip, that's a glow bird, and Dominik is his sensei. Very unfortunate, but that actually ends up sliding OB left onto the grass. So at this point, Filip laying up for his par, and that essentially means the match is over because Dominik had to win the hole outright. So as Filip taps in here with that turbo, we confirm that Filip is our first Rotterdam match play winner. If we take a look at our match play wall of champions from previous years, unfortunately no Amsterdam edition this time due to low participation, but Filip is our first 2025 regional champion. If you enjoyed what you saw, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.